Hey YouTube, it's Acousticsteveo, the crypto bard, coming to you from the cryptoverse. Join me on my journey. Let's have some fun. I hate YouTube. Alright, I'm going to start my truck up and get going. And then we're going to get into this live stream. What is a crypto bard? Before that though, I'm trying to hone in a short, concise way to help people understand what hashtag I hate YouTube is. There's also hashtag I hate Google and hashtag free speech. And from now on, every single one of my live streams and videos will be aligned to this until reality changes to something where I no longer have to say I hate Google, I hate YouTube, hashtag free speech, which I don't see happening anytime soon. So this is probably going to go on for quite a while. But I'm trying to figure out a concise way to say this so I can move on into the guts of whatever I do put on. I'm just going to start calling it Google. Whatever I do start putting on Google. So I'm just going to put it like this today. The history of the United States, anybody who's taken U.S. history has learned about monopolies and, how the government became involved in making sure that monopolies didn't take over economies, especially in the United States, and we all learn about how monopolies are bad. But now we got a legit one, and instead of calling it out for what it is, people kind of bow to it and worship it and use it, and what it's doing in the world is evil. So as long as we bow and worship Google and use all its products, when we do have alternatives just for ease, it's kind of like if you want to buy a cheap clothing item and it's made by slave labor, child slave labor in India, and you can actually trace it back to that and prove it, and you choose to buy the clothing anyways. It's kind of like that, and we're all probably guilty of that, but that's another story. But Google, what it's doing is it is social engineering, right? So is Facebook and Twitter. Like they practice it. It's not a part of their, it should be. In order for them to be something that I think is legit, it should be a part of their mission statement, is that they will not only not practice social engineering, they will be an active voice against it as an entity, which they are not. They are the exact opposite. And the most recent proof is that several of their high-level employees recently quit as a way to protest them going into China and helping China social engineer their population and to suppress free speech and to build technology that would be used for just that. So that's a concise way for me to say why I hate YouTube and Google. Because to me, YouTube is just an extension of Google. Because they're owned by Google. I mean, everything Google owns is just an extension of Google. So now we're going to move on. What is a crypto bard? A crypto bard is somebody who has dedicated themselves to a new economic system other than a fiat system. In whatever capacity they can do that, for whatever goals they have, for both their life and also for humanity. And this is something that I have coined and come up with and have created, and this is what I define myself as. And so I'm going to explain it, and it's something that I believe a lot of people could do in whatever capacity they choose to. They don't have to call themselves crypto bard, but the idea and the philosophy behind it can be used in all sorts of different ways. It doesn't have to be just artistic ways. It can be tons of different ways. So I'm going to explain what it means to me, right? First off, to do that, I'll have to probably just explain a little bit about what cryptocurrencies are and what fiat currency is. And I'm not an expert by any means on either one. I just understand it and can converse about it at a level where I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's really it. Like I have a lot of learning to do on both fiat and crypto. This journey only started for me a little over a year ago when I first heard about Ethereum on a David Seaman live stream, which he's no longer on YouTube because he's been banned on YouTube. And I used to have a lot of fun in his live streams. And so I learned about Ethereum, which is a cryptocurrency. And it piqued my interest. Like, I was like, what is this Ethereum? David Seaman had made a lot of money on Ethereum. So when somebody makes a lot of money on something and they start talking about it, I listen, all right? So that's what first got me to actually have my ears perk up, was I made a lot of money. And the second part, it was this tech. He started talking about fiat and what it meant, what it was, and he started talking about cryptocurrencies and what they meant and what they were. And from there, I just did my own research. And I found out the philosophy behind, let's just say, Bitcoin to begin with, because it's the biggest one out there that pretty much everyone's heard of. And it basically coined the whole ideology behind pretty much every other cryptocurrency that came after it, as far as at least a foundation, because it created an idea called the blockchain, which is how Bitcoin operates. And what the blockchain is, it's a way that you can have peer-to-peer interaction with no intermediary that is a centralized intermediary that basically is the mom or the dad that you come to and you tattle when things don't go wrong. And I don't even mean tattle. Sometimes it's legit. Things go wrong and the person needs to be held accountable. Well, what the blockchain does is they get rid of that, because it is based on a technology where, let's just say banking. Like, they have your money, they can do whatever they want with it. If you want your money, you got to go get it out of the bank, and you're at the mercy of whether or not they'll give it to you, really, when it comes down to it. Well, when you have Bitcoin, it's in your wallet, your Bitcoin wallet. You can send it to anyone at any time as long as they also have a Bitcoin wallet. Sometimes there's a transaction fee depending on what kind of wallet you have, what services, because there's so many different services that have sprung up around Bitcoin, it's ridiculous. What kind of services? There might be some kind of a little chunk taken out of it, which actually they're working on, and it became kind of expensive for a while, or at least what people would deem expensive. You know, I would say, I don't even really use Bitcoin because the transaction fees in my estimation are too high. So I have a workaround that I use, and I'll talk about that. But basically what I'm getting to is, it gives you a way to not have the government, first off, become involved in whatever financial stuff you decide to do with me, right? Now, there's a lot of people who think that's so dangerous, because then, you know, like, bad actors can get around the government and do all sorts of bad things with their money, and the government's out of it, and they can't restrict it and do all the things they do, create laws around it, hold people accountable. Well, to some extent that is true, but not to a very large extent, because if you start doing stuff with your Bitcoin, the whole thing is that you can see everything that's done on this thing that's on the blockchain. That's a part of it. It's a digital ledger. It records every single transaction, and it ties it to every single wallet that transacts with it. It ties it to all sorts of things, to where it is actually it is something that no one can change or alter and make a different picture out of what the actual information is, which is part of why it is so important, because people can't manipulate it. It's like one of the, at least thus far, it's been something that, and there's a lot of reasons behind why it is so hard to manipulate it. with the cryptography, with the way that it's run, by its mining and all sorts of things. There are a ton of reasons that I'm not an expert on why it is such a hard nut to crack for you to be able to mess with the actual recorded information on the Bitcoin blockchain, all right? So Bitcoin was the first one that used this new idea of cryptography used to such a high extent and in such a way that you could create a digital ledger that would be transparent to people, right? And now from that, there's been all sorts of different other blockchains, all sorts of different other things that have sprung up. There are even some that you can't see what's going on. They're called privacy coins. And their whole thing is that not everybody can see what you're doing, right? So that's a new whole thing, and some people use those, some people don't, some people think certain ways about those as well. But regardless of that, this is a new technology that is being used all over the place now. And in so many different ways, even the major players are getting into it. And they don't really want you to know that, because right now, they're buying a lot of Bitcoin for real cheap, and they tanked it down to a level where they know it's going to go back up because it's being used, and it has like such a tremendous use case, and it's still in its infancy. So they've tanked it down to a level where they can get in at the best price possible, because they're super smart and they know how to do that. They have the capabilities to do it, and so they did it. All right, so that's really what's going on. At least that's my hypothesis of why Bitcoin has just kind of went where it is right now. But regardless of where it's went and what it is, there's ways to get around that, right? Now, for someone like me, I'm limited to how involved I can be in this space. So yes, I'm a crypto bard, but I can't go all in because I need to put food on my family's table and I need to pay all my bills. And as of right now, that's not really possible. If I like took my entire paycheck, put it all into fiat, changed it from fiat into crypto and lived off the crypto, that's not going to work for a lot of reasons. But it is a possibility in the future, and it's not even the very far future. But I would probably have to earn enough in an income that all the basic stuff like bills and stuff wasn't a paycheck to paycheck life for me to even make that possible at all. So what I can actually do in cryptocurrency is just a few things. I can promote it, I can talk about it, I can educate about it, I can use it to the capacity that I can use it, which is whenever I can buy it, I buy it, and whenever I do want to transact with it, I transact with it as much as possible. And what this means for me is last year, Christmas and my birthday came around. My birthday's in October, and so my birthday was coming around, and my wife was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And we allocated enough finances from what I was bringing in from a truck that I was in to be able to get a birthday gift for each of us. And we both kind of like to say what it is that we want that birthday gift to be, because we don't really buy anything at all besides the essentials. So this was, our birthdays and our Christmas are the one times a year that we can get something. And I feel really bad because last year my wife put off getting her Christmas and her birthday money because she was waiting for something to come out, an Instant Pot. And then we ended up, our whole financial picture changed. So she didn't even get hers last year, but I got mine. And what it was cryptocurrency, $200 worth on my birthday and at Christmas. So I got $400 worth of cryptocurrency. So what I did with that was, the first thing I did was I opened a Coinbase wallet. The very easiest way to get cryptocurrency. It may not be the smartest. As far as it has its pros and its cons. It may not be the cheapest way to get cryptocurrency, I'll put it that way. But it's pretty damn cheap, otherwise it wouldn't be so popular. It's really easy and accessible. And I'll tell you what I do with it, because it's integral to, I can find another way, but for how I'm actually using cryptocurrency as a crypto bard which I will get into. I'm going to tell you about what I've actually done with this money in this last year. It makes it to where you can purchase. Back then, when I first started, it was Ethereum, Litecoin, or Bitcoin. So there were only 3. Now there's a bunch. There's more on it. Still not a whole lot. It's still a handful, but there's more on it. And what I did was I got some Ethereum because David Seaman, and I researched it, and it was something I thought was really cool. Ethereum has this thing that it was kind of new that it started, which was called smart contracts, and I'm not going to get into that in this video, but it was a part of the reason why I chose to get in with Ethereum. I don't think I bought any Bitcoin, and I bought some Litecoin because I was doing research on Litecoin, and I heard the transaction fees were less than the Bitcoin transaction fees, and when I have barely anything to work with at all, that's important. So I got into a little bit of Litecoin. And I actually, out of all the cryptocurrencies that I actually use and transact with, that are actually recorded of transactions I've done on blockchains, Litecoin is probably the one that I've done the most monetary transactions with the, like, USD, which is US dollar value attributed to those transactions. It's been Litecoin, and I'll get into that. I really like Litecoin, and I'll tell you why. So let's just get back to how I got into it. I made that initial investment both times, and I made my money like about doubled, maybe a little more than that even. So at one point I had over $1,000 off this $200 investment because I started not only doing things with the ones that were in Coinbase, which it's an exchange when it comes down to it. It lets you exchange your money for coins, right? Well, there are other exchanges that have a ton of coins. Like, there's so many coins out there. A lot of what they're called are shit coins, straight up. There's a lot of scam coins. You got to be careful. You got to really, really, really know what you're buying before you buy it, and you got to understand that it's highly speculative. So I even understand all this $400 could be gone tomorrow, and when I made that initial investment, I was okay with that. You know, that was my gift to myself. I looked at it like this: how much is a video game system and some video games that you can spend time with and have a lot of fun with? Well, I've spent time with and had a lot of fun with my $400 in cryptocurrency, let me tell you, and I'm still having fun with it to this day. So I still own the video game system. That's the way I'm looking at it at this point. All right, but you know, there are gamers. Their online presence is geared around games. Well, mine is geared around cryptocurrency and being a creative being within that, because there's a way to combine the two, which is very exciting. So if you're a creative being, that's the part that I really want to get to. The meat of this whole conversation I'm having is how you can use your creativity to generate cryptocurrencies, and how to use those cryptocurrencies if you want to just put the money right back in your pocket as US dollars, or wherever you live in the world as your own fiat currency, which it means a government issued currency. So in the United States, that's the US dollar. So wherever you live, your government's fiat currency, you can get it right back out. And I'm going to tell you how. And the easiest way is Coinbase, and it doesn't cost a lot, and I'll tell you how to keep it cheap and what I've done. So what I did after I got these cryptocurrencies, my initial ones, was I sent them to an exchange. Now, I'm only on this one exchange, and the reason why I'm on it is because I don't have a lot of money, so I'm not too worried about losing it. It's one of the most trusted exchanges out there as far as cryptocurrencies go. Now, that in itself isn't much. It doesn't give anyone who really isn't just optimist to the extreme much security, because there have been things, hacks. These cryptocurrency exchanges can get hacked. They have in the past. The one that I'm on hasn't experienced that, as far as I know, at least since I've been on it. But it's called Bittrex. And the reason why I got on it is as simple as the fact that I can use my cell phone and do anything I want with my cell phone, because I don't even have a computer. My cell phone is my computer. My cell phone is the way that I interact with all of you. I do have a computer that I set up, but it's such a pain in the butt to get up and going and to interact with. Like, its screen is cracked and I have another monitor connected to it. It's a laptop, and it's slow, and it's just clunky, and it's old. And I would rather use my cell phone. I can get in and out of whatever I want to do a lot faster, and time is money. So until I got enough money to buy an acceptable actual computer to talk to you guys with, I'm just not going to do it. And that may never happen. I may just be, maybe I should call myself cell phone card, because it's a big part of what I'm doing as well. It's just not the cryptocurrency, it's my cell phone, because I am a cyborg. Because I've gotten to that already. I'm not going to go segue into that right now. But I'll probably be making a video real soon on the fact that I am a cyborg, and you possibly could be one too. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but to ignore the fact of reality just because you don't like the word cyborg, I think would be doing yourself a disjustice, because you're not looking at reality. So yes, I'm a cyborg, and my main component of being a cyborg is my cell phone. It could be a computer if I had one, and it was really, really easy to use, because that would have to be a part of it too. Because there's a reason why the people in Star Trek are walking around with hand devices. No matter what you do, a laptop is a big device, comparatively speaking, to a cell phone. So, or a tablet, But the thing is there's the whole typing thing, right? That's why we like computers still, is because we can type on them. But that, I believe, is going to become obsolete. The whole typing thing, because voice to text technology is going to, and I've been using voice to text long enough with this device to realize how fast it's developing, how far it's come, and the potentials of it. I could very soon write a novel with voice to text, which I plan on doing. My first novel I'm going to write it completely with voice to text. I'm embracing the fact that I'm a cyborg, straight up. There's nothing I can do about it, alright? I need to save time. Time is not only money, time is valuable for so many different reasons. So I'm a big proponent of saving time however you can, because it's a finite resource that I know I don't have enough of. And I'm sure you're in the same boat, because most of my time is sucked up due to my slave job that I'm doing right now, that almost half my income goes to taxes, and the other half I get to pay bills with. So my slave job that keeps food in my family's belly and a roof over our head, that's about it. Yeah, that's where most of my time goes to, a big chunk of it. And that's part of being a crypto bard too, that I'll get into. Alright, so the first thing I did was I was watching YouTube videos, learning all about cryptocurrencies, which I would suggest you do. But don't listen to everyone, and listen to a lot of people. Take a lot of time to do it if you actually are interested. It's a time investment, yes. If you want to use me as a resource to parse things where you don't want to spend the time to find certain things that you can listen to that are worth listening to, ask me. I'll send you to some places that are good places to go. As a matter of fact, I might even, I just started putting things in my recommended channels and things like that. I hadn't really started doing. I have like 3 channels, and right now they're just kind of friends, and or people that I really value the information they're putting on YouTube. One of those 2. Or their creativity, and I only got 3 of them. I plan on putting a lot more. A a lot of those channels are going to end up being cryptocurrency channels. So if you ever want a quick way to find a good place to learn about cryptocurrencies with people that know a hell of a lot more than I do, you can check out those channels that I'm going to be putting in here real soon. But until then, and there's not a lot of time until then, because I do plan on doing it soon, and I want you to hold me accountable to that. I guess you can get some information from me and this live stream, and especially about what being a crypto bard is, because there's nobody really talking about that. All right, what it actually means, the philosophy behind it, because I coined it. As far as I know, I haven't heard anybody coin a similar philosophy or put it out there and make it as concrete as what I've formed inside my head. I haven't written it down, but I want this live stream to be a time saver because I don't have time to write it down. So that's why I'm just putting it out there in this medium and in this way. So after I got my cryptocurrency into Coinbase, which is one of the #1 apps in the App Store, and probably on in the Apple Store, whatever the Apple products have. I don't really know much about that because I'm not in that world. I'm in the Android world. So Android's cheaper, straight up, and I'm a cheapskate. I try to get the best deals I can. If I can get the functionality out of it for cheaper, I'm going to, which is why I'm still with Android, and because I am poor. Those two reasons. But yes, you can get the Coinbase app out of either of those places, and I would highly suggest doing it. You can get into Coinbase pretty cheap. I don't know what it is right now, but I believe it's really cheap, and I can tell you in this stream how to do that, because that's a big part of actually interacting with cryptocurrency is getting some of your fiat turned into cryptocurrency. So what I did was I got this exchange where I could buy pretty much most of the cryptocurrencies that I would ever want to buy. Okay, so I got a few of them. So basically I could send either my Ethereum from my Coinbase wallet or my Bitcoin, because you can transact on Bittrex, is the one that I use, with either. So you set up a Bittrex account. I tied this stuff to, like, you have to verify your identity. You have to send them, like, verification that you are who you are, and yes, you're taking a chance of sharing your information with an exchange, right? But you do that anyways, and you have no control over it, and it's been hacked. You know, our whole, credit reporting situation can tell you that much, right? So at least I know that these people that I'm sending my stuff to, these exchanges, they're geared around something called cryptocurrency, which has cryptography in the first part of its definition. And cryptography is specifically geared around security of information. So I feel a lot more secure personally myself sending these people my information than I would some other corporate entity that could lose the information to hackers anyways. So I was okay with setting up an exchange, or joining the Bittrex is the one that I chose. You can learn about all the different ones on YouTube as well. It's the one I chose because it's easy to use. It had all the currencies that I wanted, and I could use my cell phone. So, and if you ever want, I am thinking about doing a tutorial on that, and I will. That's one of the things on my agenda, is to do a Bittrex cell phone tutorial. And I found the technologies that I can do that and make it efficient for you guys to actually see what I'm doing in real time and explain it, because the cool thing about it is it's so safe. Like, even if you learn my wallet, it doesn't matter. You can't do nothing by just having a wallet address. That's a part of what a lot of these things are relying on, is the fact that they transact. You send to a wallet address, so to send to a wallet address, you got to know the wallet address, and that's about all the information you'll be able to see once I do this tutorial. So it's going to be really cool, okay? And I'm looking forward to it. But once you get into an exchange, mine was Bittrex, and you don't even have to really get into an exchange. if you want to just get some cryptocurrency, and they're one of the main ones, you can get that through just Coinbase. You can just hold the cryptocurrency, or you can use it. You could go looking for ways to transact with Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin and do that kind of thing, which I haven't done a lot of because I'm looking for my own personal use case scenarios for cryptocurrency, and I'm going to get into that when I explain, the whole thing of what a crypto card is, because that's a big part of it. Use case, all right? Use case means in a cryptocurrency, if it doesn't have a use case, it's pretty much pointless and is a shitcoin from the get-go. So it has to have a legitimate use case, which means it can't be done just as easy without having the blockchain become involved. I'll just make it simple like that. I know that might have oversimplified it for you to get a true understanding of it, but that's something you can research on your own, use case. And I'll get into my personal use case, which will then illustrate what use case means. So before I do that, though, I want to completely explain step to step what it means to get involved in cryptocurrencies. So now I have these two exchanges that I'm using. The one with just a minimal amount, highly trusted Coinbase wallets, and my Bittrex wallet. Because what it is every time you send something to a wallet, you automatically have all these wallets generated by your account being in Bittrex for every currency that it's on. You just have to start using it for it to be a used wallet, right? So, I mean, I have a wallet for like tons of cryptocurrencies that I haven't even used, but they're there once I decide I want to start using them. So what I did was I started to build a portfolio. So with that $400, I left probably about half of it in my Coinbase wallet, and I took basically I left all my Litecoin in, and I took about half my Ethereum out, so it's only about $100, right? And I took that $100 into Bittrex, and actually it might have been more, it might have been $200. I think I only put $50 in Litecoin to begin with, I believe. I don't remember all the specifics, but it's available on the blockchain, and you can research it really easily once you understand how to do that. I haven't even put the time or effort into doing that because I don't have time for that. It's not something I'm really interested in at this point, but you can very easily. If you wanted to know what Acousticsteveo's done with all this cryptocurrency, you could find out really fast by just knowing what my wallets are, and that would be very easy. I just tell you what my wallets are. Actually, a lot of them are sitting in the description on this video. So what I did was I sent, I think, either $100 or $200 into this Bittrex exchange, and I started diversifying what coins I had. So I sent it in Ethereum. Once it was in Ethereum, well, some of the coins you can only get with it has like, it's built on like being able to transact between the coins with Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Tether. I haven't been on it in a while, so I don't know if they've added more, but those are the three that you can go between and do things with. So what Bitcoin, some of the coins you can only get with Bitcoin, and some of the coins you can only get with Ethereum. And so I kind of had to go between, spread it out to Bitcoin at first. So I used some of my Ethereum to get some Bitcoin, to get some of the coins that I wanted. And then I got those coins, and I think I left part of it in Bitcoin, and I had it in that wallet for a while just so I could, if I wanted to buy something else, I could. And once I realized I didn't want to buy anything else, that remaining Bitcoin was how I have the Bitcoin that's in my Coinbase wallet. I just sent it back to my Coinbase wallet because I didn't want to leave it on the exchange, because exchanges are a lot easier to be hacked than wallets, and Coinbase is a lot more secure than a lot of other exchanges, including the one I'm on, which is pretty damn secure. So I'm not really that paranoid about it, especially with the small amount of Bitcoin I had. But I also want to use this stuff, and yes, it costs me a transaction fee to send it to back to my Coinbase wallet, but I was okay with that because I'm playing around like a video game at this point and just finding out what I can do. Okay. So I got a portfolio now, and I still have pretty much all the coins that I bought, except for one, which was Ripple. I made a lot of money on Ripple because I bought it so cheap, and it was one of the first ones that I decided I wanted to invest with, and it went up so greatly that when I realized I didn't like the philosophy behind it for reasons, because it isn't truly decentralized, and I believe it's a way for the powers that be to get in and have too much power in the cryptocurrency scene. And then the whole point of it is kind of kaput. That's my own personal viewpoint on it. But I decided me and Ripple didn't align anymore with our philosophies. So I had already made the money off of it, so I turned it in something that I'm more aligned to, that I'm not even completely aligned to, but I'm just more aligned to at this point, which is called Steam, which is, I'm going to get into that later. But anyways, all the other cryptocurrencies I got, I still have, and I found a really cool wallet that is highly trusted, has a good reputation. It's called the Jax wallet, and it's a wallet on my phone. Okay, so what the Jax wallet does is it allows me to interact with its wallets. So it's not an exchange, it's just a wallet, it's just a place to hold, and it's more secure than, or arguably more secure than, an exchange wallet. So and it has a lot of currencies on it. So all the currencies that were on Bittrex that I possibly could take off of Bittrex and put in a wallet, I did that. So now I have a wallet on my phone, my Jax wallet, and it holds most of the cryptocurrencies that I got in the Bittrex exchange. So they're just sitting in my Jax wallet, and I've done some things with that, and I'll explain. But for the most part, after I had everything off the exchange in my Jax wallet, and from there, if I do ever have any money, and I think it's worth actually securing even more, I'll get into that there, because that's the whole point behind cryptocurrency is to secure your wallet, or one of the big parts of it. You know, having security in your wallet and it not being able to be hacked, because it's such a superior technology, because it's based off cryptography and it's really hard to hack. Okay, so basically, I could at any point in time even get it off my Jax wallet and find even more secure ways to hold these cryptocurrencies if I felt the need, because I had enough money to actually give a shit about that. All right, but at this point, I'm just kind of setting myself up and becoming a crypto bard. I'm using the technology, I'm figuring it out, I'm understanding it at this point, right? So I have my portfolio set up of all the little cryptocurrencies that I want to play around with, and I don't have a lot of them. And most of them I don't have a lot of money in, like, at all, especially with the market going down so drastically as it has. And the cool thing about it is, if I compiled all my cryptocurrency together and sent it back to my Coinbase wallet, I still would have, even after it's tanked as much as it has, I think I would have almost my complete investment that I initially put in. And that's with it tanking, because I've made some really cool portfolio investments, and I've also created and generated cryptocurrency, which is the biggest part of what being a crypto bard is really about, is actually generating cryptocurrency from your creativity. And I've done it, and I'll get to that, okay, because that's a big part of it. And I want all of you to know about it and to start doing it in whatever capacity you decide to, and I'm here to help. That's a big also part about what being a crypto bard is singing your message out there for people to hear it and to help them and to be of service. And this is what I want to do. I want to be of service. even if it's just you hearing about it and finding other people that serve you better. At least I was of service for you to get your brains, your cogs going in your mind of the potential of what you can do, because that's what all this is. There's a huge potential, and I'll get into what that potential is and why it's so great, and why I totally decided to align my whole life mission outside of supporting my family with this thing, and I really have. Okay, so I explained diversifying your portfolio, how you can do that easily, even with a small amount of money, because that's the coolest thing about this. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. It's you can get in with such a small, minute amount of money. I believe I got in with what I got in with, and I earned money for doing that with Coinbase because they gave me some free Ethereum, I believe it was, or Bitcoin. I can't even remember, to tell you the truth. I believe it was Ethereum. And I put enough in. There was a promotion. They give you a little bit in your wallet, right? So, yeah, I had to put a little bit more in. Like, I think it was $100 or something, right? That was what it took for me to get the promotion. And I believe they still have that promotion going on. And I'm probably going to make a video just on Coinbase, and I will send you a link that you can use of mine. So if you decide to get in and you decide to use Coinbase to do it, that would help me, because I would get, like, not really a commission, but I'd get, like, their incentive program, whatever it is they're deciding to incentivize it right now. I don't even know what it is, okay? But it would give me just a little piddly drop of something, which would be nice, because there are people that actually make money that way. By, there's if you think about it like this. If you're an affiliate and you're selling a product, that's how you make your money. You sell a product, you're an affiliate. Well, currency. With just telling people about Coinbase. If you can get your message out there, and enough people think Coinbase is really cool, and they think you're really cool, and they sign up under you just because they think you're really cool, then you're making money that way. It may not be a lot, but you can diversify the ways that you transact with the experience. So it's an easy way to be an affiliate marketer, which I am doing right now. I haven't fully set it up yet, but I'm telling you, it might even be in my description. I'll have to double check. If not, I need to go back to it and tailor my description because it's out of date right now. But yeah, so that's cool. That's one cool thing. There might even be something through Bittrex that I could also be an affiliate for. I don't know. I'll have to look at that and find out, because now my brain cogs are going just from speaking to you. But what I'm getting at is, after I did this, my next step was, I want to transact and make Bitcoin. I want to transact and make all these other coins. How can I do that? And I've done it a couple different ways. I've made pennies through something called, I believe, if you just type in Google, free cryptocurrency website or something like that, tailor it however you want. I'll explain what the website does, and you can search it however you want, but you should be able to find it. Then I'm blanking on the name right now, but it might come to me as I discuss it. But what it basically is a place that has a bunch of different ways that you can make piddly amounts of a bunch of different types of cryptocurrency. And so it puts it, from you doing these things, it puts it into a wallet on this website. And once you have enough, there's like a minimum amount you have to get it out of the wallet that you're putting it into, from doing all these tasks like watching videos, playing apps on your phone, it's basically testing products, things like this. You can earn a little bit of cryptocurrency. You earn enough, you can take it out of that wallet and send it wherever you want. They take a transaction fee, so it's probably the worst and way that I've ever made cryptocurrency. I would not recommend it. I might go back and revisit to see if it's got anything worth doing on it now, but time is money, and I spent way too much time on it and didn't make enough money off of it. But at first, when I first started doing it, I found a way to actually make money where I didn't make the money that I was making on it without having to hardly do anything. Because what I did was, there was one thing where you could watch videos, right? So what I would do is I would just drive down the road, and I'd turn this on before I started driving, and the videos would just start playing, and I didn't have to like interact with it at that point. So I started actually using my brain, and I'm thinking, like, how much money am I making? And I realized I wasn't making much. I wasn't even, if I would have let the whole thing play the whole time I worked all day long, when it was functional, because at some point it became non-functional for what I was doing with being able to, like, it wanted you to, it started interacting with the videos, and at that point I couldn't do it what I was doing. But back then, when I first started using it, I could just hit play and it would just generate. I'd even turn the volume down so I didn't have to listen to the damn things, and I'd just drive along, and I already have unlimited data on my phone and unlimited data plans, so I would just let that pretty much generate cryptocurrency. And it was basically a way that I could make cryptocurrency with doing nothing at all, really, except for turning it on and letting it run. But I started to have complications with that. When it came down to it, if I worked my whole shift and it ran the whole time, I was making less than $1 a day, which is fine. I mean, a lot of the stuff I do right now that I'm really excited about, I make less than $1 a day on, okay? But it was occupying my device. It was cumbersome. It was a pain in the butt. And at the end, I just don't do it anymore. But it is out there. If you look it up, you can find it. A lot of the things that I ended up actually getting the most was when I was just sitting back. I used to be an over-the-road driver. So at the end of my day, I would have my own time, and then I'd go to sleep, and that was my day. So I'd be back laying in my bed, because our beds are in the back in these trucks if you're an over-the-road driver. They're not in this because I'm a local driver now. But I'd sit back in my bed and I'd play like the games, the apps, like, and you'd earn more. Like, they give you like a little bit more. So I mean, I probably, the whole time I was using this, I think it's, what is it called? It's crypto something, like crypto market or free, I think it might be like freecryptocurrency.com or something like that. It's got free crypto something in the name. And I've probably made about $15 off of it from the entire time that I've used it. So, and that was playing games on my phone mostly. Like, there are people that for whatever reason they put it out there for you to do certain tasks, and it pays a contract basically. You do the task, and it completes the contract, and then if you get paid what they say they're going to pay on it. You could actually, if you want people to do tasks, like there are people that want, like, I guess, like typing or any task you can really think of that somebody can do online, you could go on there and have people do for real cheap. Like if you wanted somebody to, for instance, type up or transcribe a video or something like that, you can put that as a task. Say you're going to pay a certain amount in cryptocurrency, they'll do it for piddly, and you'll have what you want. So I mean, it's a developing thing, and its use case is endless, and it's only the drop in the bucket of the total use case of cryptocurrency. But it's one of the ones that I personally have used. And for my probably 30 plus hours I spent on it, I probably made $15. So I don't use that anymore, alright? Because first off, I'm not having fun. And there are other ways that I am having fun. I'm being creative, and I'm making cryptocurrency. I'll get into that. Real soon, I'm getting to it, okay? So I started exploring, finding ways to actually make money with my creativity. The next one I found after that was MusicCoin. And what MusicCoin was, it's a streaming platform where if you own the rights to your music, you can put it on this streaming platform, and you have a wallet, a Musicoin wallet, and every time somebody listens to your song, and I believe you, even when you listen to your own songs, so that would be even another way to do it, just put your own music on and stream it. I'm not 100% sure that still works. It used to, though, when I first did it, alright? But every time somebody listens to a song, it generates a Musicoin. Musicoin, in the time that I've been on it, has been up to 10 cents a stream. 10 cents a stream. That's a lot. Musicians out there that have used things like Spotify and made money, fiat money, from their streams know that 10 cents a stream is a lot. Right now it's not that. I think it's a third of a penny, or maybe even even less than that, possibly, right now. It may even be a tenth of a penny right now, for all I know. But it could go back up at any point in time. And even a tenth of a penny, that means 10 people listen to your song, you've earned a penny. That means if 1,000 people listen to your song, you've earned $1, which is still more than a lot of people are making sites, right? Especially if your music's really good and people want to listen to it. If you put it on Musicoin, you have less competition because there's less music on Musicoin. So I'm not really a big spokesman for Musicoin because its technology really isn't what I like. It's not easy for me to use, especially with my cell phone. I think for a desktop or laptop user, it'd be a lot easier to use and navigate around, but for a cell phone user, it's not. I can still do it, but I haven't really produced a lot of tracks recently. Like, I want to start making my tracks be of higher quality before I actually release them, and I'm going to start releasing singles instead of an album. So right now, I'm at a place where I haven't put something on Musicoin for a while, and my most recent uploads to Musicoin have not been really good at all. But I did those for some reasons, and I'll talk about that too. Because I have a reason behind everything I do, really. So, anyways, I started messing around with Musicoin, and they had some really cool things I think they might still have. A part of Musicoin is if you get other people to sign up for Musicoin, which doesn't cost anyone anything, they give you Musicoin, right? It's like free money. So I'm like, okay. So you only have 5 of them, at least when I first signed up. Within a month, I had gotten 5 other musicians to join Musicoin through my link, and I had exhausted that free money, right? So, because it was only 5 people. So, but that's really cool. One other cool thing is you can tip Musicoin, and I do that. Like, I'll go on, if I find somebody else's music on there and it's really cool, I'll tip them some Musicoin and put a comment and tell them how cool I think their music is. And that, to me, is a lot of value, because I want people to know that they're being valued. Like, as a being, that is a huge part of what I am as a being, as a crypto bard, even beyond that, as a human being, is I want other people to know how much I value them, and I want to be specific as to why. Because it bolsters people's confidence in themselves, and it helps them realize that they are connecting with somebody at a deeper level than a lot of the other people they're connecting with, which is just consumed in the they could care less about the actual person that's putting forth whatever it is. I don't want to interact with people. If I find your stuff and I think it's cool, I want to be able to tell you. I want to be able to interact with you. I want you to know that I really enjoy it. Alright? So for Musicoin, that's really cool. You can tip people. And people have tipped me. And it's really fun that way too, to get tipped by somebody and them to tell you that they like your music or whatnot. It's really cool. And it's real money and see, because Bitcoin and the blockchain is set up in such a way, it's open source, which means that the developers that are continuously developing the technology and building on it and figuring out new ways to use it and are changing, tweaking it, things like this, The developers are from the community. They're not like paid by somebody. There are projects set up to pay them for some of them, but it's all community driven. It's not corporate driven or somebody with money monopolizing the whole situation of how Bitcoin is used. It's so just across the board the people's stuff. It's like we are the ones that are creating the reality of what Bitcoin is. So one of the things that happens is Bitcoin will fork from time to time, which means enough people in the community want something to happen with Bitcoin, and people vote on it, and they decide, and they part their ways. The original Bitcoin is there, and then some other type of Bitcoin is calling itself something else is there. It's called a fork in the blockchain. So basically the blockchain can be forked, and people can decide which way to go on that fork. They can stay with Bitcoin, they can take the fork. Well, Musicoin was one of those, I believe, pretty early forks. Either that or it used the BitChain. I don't know, I'm not 100% on this, but it came from Bitcoin, okay? It came from the technology of Bitcoin. It uses the same things that Bitcoin uses. And one of the cool things about Musicoin is that if, say, you have a song and you're not the only musician on your song, right? You could set up contracts, and if you could get the other people that are involved in your music to also create a wallet, every time the song that you put on there is played, you can tailor it to pay those people exactly what you've agreed upon them receiving from participating in your music. So you could set up a contract with somebody, and just by being on Musicoin and having Musicoin basically fulfill the contract, you don't even have to do anything. There's no more like publisher or any of that has to really be involved in the whole scenario of your music. Like you could be your own, like, it's not just musicians that are on Musicoin with Musicoin wallets. There are producers on there that own the rights to their tracks, at least some part of it, that set up ways to send it to other people that are involved in the song itself. So the song itself becomes its own, like, money, basically, and it can be distributed in a way that is fair to everyone involved in this actual creation of the track. For instance, I have a use case for this. I met this young man on Facebook from Nigeria, and he's very young. I believe he might be 18 right now, and I still talk to him, but he, for me, was my use case in how to give somebody something in another country using cryptocurrency, right? I wanted to be able to do this, and he was my use case for this. And he's another musician, right? And how I found my use case was just talking to him. Like, we wanted to work together. We wanted to basically collaborate musically. So part of our early thing that was keeping us from being able to collaborate was he didn't have any technology on his end to do so. Like, and he's very poor, you know, he doesn't have any money. And I was like, okay, how can we solve this? And at this point, I had like $1,000 in cryptocurrency, right? So I was like, I'm just going to buy this kid a cell phone, right? And I did. And how I did this was I took my, I believe it was Litecoin. I can't remember exactly how I did it. Actually, I think I just took some of the money that I had left in my Coinbase wallet, and at that time, Coinbase was connected with PayPal, and I have a whole theory about why they're not anymore and what that's all about. And I might get into that, but I'm going to step over that for now. because I might not, because I don't want this to get too long-winded or have too many segues. But what I did was I PayPal allows you to send to a bank account, right? So I sent money from my crypto wallet on Coinbase to my PayPal account. I verified my PayPal account with my actual bank, and he gave me his mother's bank account information in Nigeria. And I did a transfer of that money and sent it from PayPal to her bank account. There may have even been an intermediary I had between all that, but I made it happen. And it cost me about maybe $10 to $15 to get him money in Nigeria into his mom's actual bank account, okay? It didn't cost me a whole lot, the whole thing together. It may have been, I think it was some dollars, okay? So I made this happen at expense for $10 to $15, and I made this kid's freaking day. Not only that, I transacted it wrong because it was a use case thing and I was figuring out how to do it. And I overpaid, like I sent him twice as much money as I should have. But I was okay with that. Like he was like trying to express how much he needed to get the money back to me, you know, and everything. And I was like, you know what? It was about Christmas time and I was just like, you know what? I just want that money to be a blessing to your family. Tell your mom that I want them just to use that extra money, get the cell phone and use that extra money however your family deems fit, right? And I realized, like, man, this really meant a lot to this person. Like, and not just that, their family. And it was only about overall $150 from me to make this happen. And out of the $400 that I had put in for it to be worth about $1,000 at that time, $150 to me I was very happy to do it. It was an awesome experience, and I do not regret it. I still talk to this kid to this day, and I'm learning a lot about Nigerians through this kid. And one of the things you learn is that they are intent on respect and calling you sir and things like this, and I'm like, stop calling me sir. He won't. Let me put it that way. But he's now in university. He doesn't have a lot of time. But one of the things that we did do was write a couple songs together. The first one we wrote was I sent him a guitar track, and he recorded with the cell phone that we had purchased the vocals, right? And so we wrote a song together. And actually, no, the first thing we did is he didn't have a guitar. Like, that's how I first saw him, was a YouTube video that he had. Like, he sent me to show me his stuff, and he was playing guitar, acoustic guitar, and a really talented female friend of his was singing. And I really thought he was talented on guitar. I thought he was young, and I thought it was really cool that I could interact with somebody that I thought was really talented and young. But I came to find out he didn't have access to an actual guitar, okay? It was, I believe, his friend's guitar that he was playing in that video, or his guitar was not functional as something that could be used for us to work together that way. So what he did was he had wrote a song, and he sang, and he sent him just singing it to me. And by him doing that, I then figured out what key it was in and figured out the guitar to it, right? And then it wasn't exact, but I then played the song and sang the song and sent it back to him and showed it to him. And I don't remember all the specifics of this because this was a while ago, but I ended up creating a song with him. And I got him to join MusicCoin, right? So now I have a way to set up a contract in Musiccoin where half the music coin generated by the song that me and Martins is his name created together, you can listen to it on Musiccoin. I'm Acousticsteveo on Musiccoin. If you just type in Google Acousticsteveo Musiccoin, you'll find my site. Well, I believe I only have one song on there that we did together, but I think we wrote two together. I can't really remember, but we have a song, and it's really cool. It's another use case. It's a collaboration use case of how you can collaborate with another artist on the internet in Nigeria that you've never met before, create something. Maybe it's not the best sounding recording because it's a cell phone. Even me on my end, I believe at that point I wasn't even using my 4-track, I was using my cell phone. And I had a 4-track app on my cell phone, so it's not the best recording in the world. Not even really, it is what it is. It's out there though, and that's why I chose to put that song. It's one of my most recent uploads to the Musiccoin blockchain. But any play that we go on there, know that half the money is going to Martins in Nigeria. So that's cool. And Musiccoin, I figured out how to send my money from Musiccoin to Bittrex and turn it into real money. So I might do a video on that as well. And it was kind of weird too. I don't know if it can still be done, because at the time, one of the weird things about it, I did it with a small amount just to test it first. It was telling me that it wasn't possible, right? But I'm like, I don't know about it, so I tried it and it worked. So even though it was telling me it wasn't possible, I got it to work, and I might do a video on that to show you how to get your money out of your Musiccoin wallet and turn it into real money, okay? I'll make sure that it's possible, but I haven't done that in a while. I just basically figured out how to do it, and I left my Musiccoin stuff alone, right? So I've got a Musiccoin wallet, and I've got a Musiccoin wallet on my exchange on, actually I remember exactly why I set what I did with my Musiccoin when I actually did take it out, because I made some money on Musiccoin, like maybe $30, something like that. A lot of, some of which I actually owe to people in real life, because some of the songs on there were written by not just me. So at that point, I'm taking it on myself to be the publisher, basically, the agent for these people. And so all I have to do is do an accounting once a year and send them some money. I would love to get these people on the blockchain to where I could just send them a something to whatever wallet they have and whatever cryptocurrency they have, and it'd be done with, and I'm done with the whole thing. I don't have to think much about it. It's less of a pain in my ass, because right now I've got to pay these people in fiat, but it's such a small amount, I'd be handing them like a $5 bill the next time I see them, or something to that extent. And some of these people are my family. Some of these people are my friends who told me they don't want the money. They just want me to keep exploring my what I'm doing with it, like keep reinvesting it, which is what I'm doing, and that's a big part of being a crypto bard as well, and I'll get into that. Because I do want to explain this whole thing to its entirety so people can understand exactly what I'm doing, the philosophy behind it, and if they're intrigued at all, they can employ the same thing that I'm doing in however they want to do it, at whatever level they want to do it, whether it's dipping their toes in or jumping in the pool and swimming, all right? I want to be a resource for either of those, for everyone that I can be, or even just a sounding board, somebody that can answer questions, somebody that can tell you what it is I'm doing for you to go, oh, I don't want nothing to do with that. Whatever it is, I want to be able to get the word out. That's a big part of being a crypto bard. So, Musiccoin was one that I have my music on currently, and once I do produce some better tracks, because that's one of my next goals, I am going to upload my tracks as singles on Musiccoin. I think I'm pretty much done doing albums, unless I actually make money, because I do like the concept of an album, but I don't have the time for it. I did one album, and my goal after that was to do one album a year, and I might do another one, because my album's on Bandcamp, and I've come up with an idea behind my second album, and I could do it with enough tracks, and I think I'm going to, But after that, I don't know. I might just start doing singles. And I don't really want to get into what all that is, because I'll probably make a video on that in itself. So, on my album that I'm going to make by the end of the year for my second year of albums. And maybe I'll just keep doing an album every year and let it be what it is and finding ways to do it. But it's becoming harder and harder because I'm more and more of my time is less and less mine to give to my own creativity. I'll put it that way. And that's just reality, and I'm okay with it. But it's just reality. So, let's get back to what I'm doing, alright? The things that I have done as a crypto bard that kind of can give you an idea of what can be done. So after I got stuff on Musicoin and I started looking around more and more, I found out I was like hearing about applications to, from putting your videos on the blockchain to putting, I already had found out how to put music on the blockchain, to putting articles on the blockchain, and I heard about Steemit, and that was my game changer. Steemit, all right? That's STEEMIT. I'm your man when it comes to Steemit, and I'm at least your introductory level man. There's a lot about Steemit that I'm learning. I'm not an expert at it. Right now I'm about a low to intermediary user of Steemit. But I am a functional user of Steemit, and I do actually create cryptocurrency with my creativity on Steemit. And I believe I'm going to switch gears and go into what I'm doing there now, and what its potentials are that I haven't even explored. But before I do that, I will tell you there are other music streaming platforms online that are cryptocurrency ones, and if you want to use one that is really user-friendly, I can't attest to the PC laptop realm, but the cell phone realm, which is applicable to me, I'm having so much fun with it. It is something that I can stream music on and listen to music on all day long, where Musicoin, it's just so clunky for me to navigate around and find something that I actually want to listen to, where this other one, I can find it easily. And I can create playlists that are easy to create, because you can create playlists on Musicoin, but it's not an easy process for a cell phone user, alright? I mean, I'm sure I could do it, and maybe I will do it and show you how to do it at some point, but Choon, that's CHOON, that is the one that I'm having the most user-friendly experience on right now, and it has its pros and cons as well, and I'll tell you real quick in a nutshell what those are before I move into Steemit. But if you are a musician, same type of deal. You can put your music on Steam. You can allocate into several wallets, several channels, so you can have more than one person involved in your music project and have everyone paid out fairly. Same type of deal, but the thing is it's created off Ethereum, and it's had an ICO, and it's its own thing, and that's the thing about Ethereum, is it's kind of introduced a whole new level of things. That's why Ethereum is really cool. I'm not going to get too far into that because it's really technical and I don't even understand it completely, or even minutely at this point. But Ethereum allows you to create smart contracts, and you can build off of it very easily, technology-based things like a streaming platform. And there are streaming platforms, not with just music, other things based on Ethereum out there, okay? And maybe I'll clue you into one of those too that I just found and am excited about. It's called Scent, and you can put your videos on Scent. And I just started dabbling in this one. I'm gonna add it to my repertoire, because I've been making money off Scent by just commenting on people's things, kind of like Reddit. Somebody says something about something and then I go and I comment on it. Well, my comment can actually turn into Ethereum on Scent, and so that's kind of cool, and I haven't even began to explore that. But what's being done on Choon is it's creating these things called notes, and the notes are yet to see. cryptocurrency world, every cryptocurrency, if it's legit, should have a white paper, which basically is very easy for you to get, read, and it should have all the intricacies of whatever it is the project is, right? So on Tune, the white paper, and they should also have a roadmap where they kind of put out like a time frame of when they want to do certain things that they want to do with the entirety of their project. Well, on Tune, we have not yet hit the be able to take your notes out of your wallet, turn it into real money stage yet. I believe you can send it to some sort of Ethereum wallet, but it's computer based. It's not cell phone based. So for me, I haven't even used it yet. I will be testing it out soon to see if I can actually, how far I can go with it, if I can actually get it into my Coinbase wallet so I can turn a note into Ethereum, thus be able to get it out of the wallet that it's in and as Ethereum and send it to some other way to get it to my Coinbase wallet. That may not be possible yet, but there is, I believe we're getting closer and closer to that, and at this point, I just like the fact that my music's online, and I'm looking at it like it's SoundCloud, right? But for me, I like it better than SoundCloud. Like, as far as cell phone use goes, a lot better than SoundCloud. So, even if it ends up being nothing, and it dies, and whatever, I'm not really spending that much time on it to begin with. All I'm really doing is uploading my tracks and creating playlists. And even the playlist, the cool thing about Tune is you can go on there and not be a musician. Create a playlist of the coolest songs that you like, and the musicians themselves that put the tracks on there can allocate a percentage of the notes generated by their song to go to whoever puts it in their playlist and gets a play off of it. So I have mine currently allocated at 25%. So if you create a playlist and Acousticsteveo's Tune songs are in it, every time somebody plays your playlist and they play Acousticstevo songs, you get 25% of the notes generated. So that's really cool. That's really cool. And I've created a pretty cool, I think, playlist on it. And I might do a video entirely on my playlist. I think I have done a video where I listened to my playlist and streamed myself driving down the road, kind of talking and listening to my playlist. I'm pretty sure I did that. I'm not sure if I did that on YouTube or some other streaming platform that I use, and I'll get into that as well, because there are streaming platforms where you can create cryptocurrency by streaming. All right, so there's a lot to cover here of being a crypto bard, and I hope that I'm being helpful to you and giving you all this information and breaking it down. All right. So with Tune, it's really cool as far as the usability and what it can do. As far as the functionality and turning it into real fiat like I have done with Musicoin, I'm not really sure yet, but I'll get back to you on that. And at this point, I've got so many things that I'm trying to do. It's just one of those things that I haven't gotten to yet. So I don't know how long it will take me to even get to it. You could go test it out for yourself. You could start up a Tune thing and get your music on there and test it out and then tell me, because I'm curious to know. But yeah, that's what Tune is, and it is really cool, folks. Really cool. And I'm probably going to be putting a video about just Tune itself up here, more of a streamlined informational type video, and it will probably include, after I go and test the functionality of turning it into fiat. After I do that, I'll probably make a fully cool video on that, like not just me talking like most of my stuff is, where I just talk and tell you what I've learned. It's gonna be a show not tell type thing. And right now I do a lot of telling, all right, not a lot of show not tell, a lot of tell, which is fine, because the show part you can find from other places, and at least I'm getting it out there, and getting your cogs rolling. All right, so that's Tune. I'm gonna move into Steem It now, which is my #1 way of generating cryptocurrency. Because the cool thing about Steem It is, after I make Steem, I can turn it into anything. I can turn it into anything. And that goes back to my Bittrex wallet and my phone, all right? Now I'm doing all this with my phone, right? My Bittrex wallet, it has Steem listed as one of the currencies on the Bittrex wallet. So after I create Steem, all I've got to do is send it to that exchange, and I can turn it into whatever I want. Another cryptocurrency, send it to my Coinbase wallet, put it in my checking account, because anything that's in my Coinbase wallet, I can send straight to my checking account at any point in time for a pretty minimal fee. I try not to do it because I believe it's like $5, and so I try to make it worthwhile. If I am going to send it, I send it in bigger chunks, so that $5 becomes a lesser amount of money. So, regardless, I can turn my Steem into real money, and it's very easy. So, to just tell you what I can do on Steem, what you can do on Steem, is they've made it very easy to get on, first off. I would love to get somebody on Steem and do a video of just that. So if anybody's interested in getting on Steem and they want my help and they want to make like an actual video of it, a live stream type thing where we get you on Steem, probably using something like Google Hangouts, and I do have my computer set up to where I could do this. I would just we'd have to schedule a time to do a live stream, and I would we'd do a Google Hangout, and I would share certain things of how to do it and not others. Nothing that would compromise your Steem account, but it would be functional enough for people to see how easy it is to get on Steem, and it would show somebody in real time starting their Steem journey. So I think that would be really cool to do. So if anybody would like to do that, let me know in my comments, or if you're in the chat. I go back and quite often look at my chat and see what's been said and who's been saying it. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm looking. I might not even find the person I'm going to do this with on YouTube, but I will find this person. This is something I am going to do somehow, even if it's a family member and I coerce them into setting up a Steem account, which I'm working on because I've got to find this person. This is something I want to do. I want to show people how easy it is to get on Steem. And I'll just, in a nutshell, explain why. You could go into Google and type in Acousticsteveo Steem It, and you will find a number of the things that I've been posting on Steem. You could then look at it on your computer. It would look like a website, and then towards the bottom there should be something that's like open an account or join Steem It or something like that, right? So you hit that button. I haven't done this in over a year, and it may have changed since I did it, but I know it's only changed to make it easier, because that's what the whole technology of cryptocurrency is doing. It's becoming more and more user-friendly, and that's how I know it's going to succeed. Because if it stayed less user-friendly, people wouldn't want to use it. They would just use it for a while and be like, man, this sucks. I'm tired of it. And I've gotten to that point with Steem It a little bit, and it's got its pros and its cons, but I know in the end it's going to become more and more user-friendly. Even for a person, I'm able to use it on my cell phone, and it's pretty dang easy. But what I'm getting at is, you hit the button to start your journey on Steem It, and before you do this, you should be ready. Don't just go on there and post something. I'll put it that way. Don't just create your account and as soon as you can start posting, post something. I made that mistake before I understood, and I even did some reading and some digging. I thought I understood what I was supposed to do, but I didn't. And so I screwed myself up a little, and I'll tell you how I did that. It wasn't a big deal. It probably cost me maybe about $20, because at the time almost all the introduction posts were making money. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I would love for that to still be the case, but I can't guarantee it is. But who knows, if you make a good enough introduction post, I know there are still people that look at that, myself included, that will upvote you and you will earn some sort of money from it. So that's the first thing you got to do, is you got to know why you're going on Steemit and be able to actually write something. So, I mean, you could get creative. Maybe you want your introductory post to be a video because you're a YouTuber, right? And you just want to, you are on YouTube. And you're still gonna, Steemit is kind of a text thing though. Still, for the most part, you do want to have some sort of description that is just like in your YouTube description, right? You want it to put some time into it. And that can be a little frustrating for somebody who doesn't understand the coding that goes behind it, because there is some coding that goes behind it. And it's not really a lot, and you can get away with pretty much no coding. Like in my earliest stages using Steemit, I would just type and whatever happened. I didn't try to make any of my words look pretty or nothing. I just wrote what I had to say and put it on there, and people were still interacting with me. So I just over time wanted to beautify my posts, so I learned some of the coding, and not even close to all of it. I basically know where I could go to research something as a resource fairly quickly to do pretty much anything I want to do in the coding. And so that's how I kind of do it. And then over time of doing it enough times, you memorize a lot of it. So one of the things is your introduction post. You want it to be good. So that's the number one thing I want to hammer in your head. It's wasted money if you don't. And one thing that I'll tell you where my mistake was. My first post was an introductory post. I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was. It was either my first or my second. I believe it was my first. And it was a fairly decent one. I mean, it was a good enough one that it should have generated something, but it didn't generate hardly anything, and that's because my first tag wasn't the tag that it should have been under, because it's a priority-based tagging system. And I believe really your first tag's the only one that matters as far as priority-based. But your first tag will put it as your most important thing, which will make it you more visible. All right. So I wasn't as visible as I should have been, because it wasn't my first tag. I think I put it as like my second or third tag. And once I realized this, I even tried to fix it, go back and edit, because you can edit your tags. And there was no fixing it. No matter what, I had screwed myself. So make sure introduce yourself, all one word, is your first tag on your introduce yourself first post on Steemit. So to wrap it up in a nutshell, make sure you do that. Otherwise, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're leaving money on the table. So, after you get yourself a Steemit account, which for me it was very easy. I believe my phone was set up to my Facebook account, and I think one of the options is, with a lot of things nowadays, is verify through Facebook. So I just did that, right? So now I have a Steemit account. What you have on a Steemit account is, now this is where it gets a little complicated, and I'm going to do a full-on, this is why I want to do this tutorial video with a live person, is because of this part. I want to make sure that everybody gets this part down and understands the implications of it. And what it is when you create the account, you've generated some wallets on your account, all right? You've generated a Steem wallet, which is what Steemit mostly runs on, is Steem. And that's the main cryptocurrency of Steemit, is Steem. And it will be one of the wallets that you automatically have on the actual blogging platform. And it's a blogging platform is what it comes down to. And it's your main area is called your blog. That's what you post. Every time you put a post on Steemit, you are adding to your blog, okay? Well, the wallet, it's totally separate than all that. It is where all the Steam that you own that's been generated from your blog, or people have sent you straight to your wallet, like somebody, if they like your stuff, they could just send you Steam and be like, and this happens to me all the time, like I'll go look at my wallet and I'll be like, wow, somebody just sent me some Steam and I don't even know why. Like they don't even tell me they're sending it to me, and I just notice it's in there, and I've had to go and say, hey, thank you to people after that, you know. It's really, Steam, it's really cool. And you're all automatically in a different echelon of people, like people that are, all their missions for are very attuned, more so than the general population of the people on, say, any other thing that I'm on, because they're all, for the most part, they're in cryptocurrency. So once you've decided you want to be in cryptocurrency, you have made some kind of a decision already to say there's a reason why I would either rather start to support cryptocurrency entirely over fiat currency, or I am open to using it and not discounting it, and I'll add it to my repertoire of things that I want to do. One of those two things is what's happening with pretty much everybody. Or the third case is you're in a country where you don't have no money and you're like, wow, I can make money on Steemit, I better get on Steemit. And the cryptocurrency thing is secondary, because you're trying to feed your family or do whatever it is you're trying to do. And there are people on Steemit that do just that. Alright? But once you're on Steemit, you start creating content. You have your wallet. You have another wallet, which is called SBD. And this is an important thing to understand. Maybe not so much when you first start doing it, but at some point you want to understand what SBD is. I'm still trying to understand all the implications of it, but I've figured out a couple things that are cool about it. It tries to, it's another way, its whole purpose is to try to keep itself around $1 USD. It wants to, that's why the D's at the end of it. SBD is what it's called. Steemit backed dollars is what it stands for. Okay? Or Steem backed dollars. No matter where Steem goes, Steem could go like up to $100 a Steem. Steem could go down to a penny a Steem. The goal of SBD is to try to kind of off of the up and down, the constant volatility of Steem, at least in its infancy of what we experience with Steem nowadays. All right. Now SBD, sometimes it's worth more than Steem, and sometimes SBD will be worth more than $1. I don't know all the history of it, but I know since I've been on it, I've seen it get up there. SBD, I've seen it go up. Like, I believe it got up to like above $5. I'm pretty sure of that since I've been using it, and so that's pretty cool for something to be worth about $5 when it's trying to be worth $1. Like, and I don't understand all the intricacies of how it does that. But I think SBD is really cool, and it has a lot. Like, one of the things that I've been doing is Steem will pay out, and it doesn't pay you purely in Steem, right? It'll pay you in, like, at least I have mine set up 50%, right? So it will 50% Steem power, and that's the other thing I'll get into in a minute, because I don't want this whole thing to be about Steemit. I've done other videos about Steemit, and I'm going to do more. So I'm trying to keep this as concise as I can, while at the same time excite you to the potentials of it. And if I get too long-winded about it, you're going to get bored, and I know that. So I'm going to try to just tell you something cool I did with SBD recently. Steem is worth not very much right now. It's worth like, I think 30 or 40 cents a Steem. The whole market, cryptocurrency market, has went zoom, and it's kind of stabilizing right now, but it could go zoom again tomorrow. for all I know. And I'm okay with that because I don't have any money to speak of. Really, $400, what's that? And I've already pretty much gotten my worth out of it. So what I'm getting at is that Steam's only at 40 cents. SBD is closer to like 80 cents right now, okay? So right now, SBD is worth more than Steam, but it's still maintaining pretty close to $1. 80 cents is pretty good. And Steam itself has been over $10 since I've been on Steemit. So, like, it's really volatile. So because I know, even in the recent past of a year or so, it's been worth that much money, if it went back up to that, $10 of Steam, I'd want to have a lot of Steam, right? I'd want to have a lot more Steam than SBD. And since whenever a post pays out like every 7 days, and then, you know, it gives people a chance to upvote it. After that amount of time, all those upvotes are calculated. You earn the Steam and the SBD and the Steam power of that post, and then it's yours now, right? Well, any SBD I'm getting, right, that's sent as SBD to me, I keep turning it into Steam as long as Steam is less than SBDs, right? Because I really believe, and I could be wrong, that Steam's going to go way back up over $1, but SBDs probably will stay closer to $1 for longer, and Steam will outperform SBDs again. All right, because I believe that, I'm going to continue to turn my SBDs into Steam every single time I can. You know, it costs me nothing. Especially, all these things don't cost you anything inside of Steam. So I'm doing these transactions between SBD and Steam with no cost to me, no transaction fee at all, folks. No transaction fee. So it's really cool, like the implications of this. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Steam Power is the third thing that happens in your Steam wallet, and you can put all your Steam and all your SBD and turn it all into Steam Power. But the thing about it is, if you want to take it back out of Steam Power, it has a schedule of how it sends it to you. And I'm like testing all this. Like, I at one point was turning all my Steam, all my SPDs into Steam Power, and I'd done that for a long period of time, right? Well, recently I stopped, like completely stopped doing that. And now any SPDs that I generate and any Steam, I'm only keeping them in SPDs and Steam, and I've reversed it to where I'm on that withdrawal schedule because mostly because I want to see what it does. Like, I want to do it. I want to like have the experience of doing it. It's not because I'm trying to take all my money out of Steam or out of my SBD, because SBD gives you your voting power, right? And I have such little voting power. I'm like a penny. Maybe not even that with the amount that I've been taking out and the amount that it's tanked recently. So I'm less than a penny with my vote anyways. So right now is the perfect time for me to mess around with it, right? So I'm taking money out of it at a schedule, like I think it gives you, I think it's over 52 weeks, right? So whatever is in there, when you decide to start powering down, it just sends you 1/52nd every 10, well, no, it's like every 10 days, so it's more than a week. I don't know all the specifics. I'm not the person to learn about this, but what it does, I'm giving you like a basic overview picture of this. It allows you to take out over time all your money that you put in there, right? And it's going to turn it into Steam. So it's going into your Steam wallet. So it's just a way for you to kind of invest in your voting power. You're also investing in your reputation when you put it into Steam Power, because that's a part of Steam. You have a number up by your up at the top of your, when you create your Steam blog. Mine right now, I believe, is 59 or 60, and it can only go up so high. And actually, mine's pretty dang high for what it is. I have a pretty good reputation on Steam, and that's affected by a number of different things. But one of the things that will affect your reputation is that people will look at your wallet, because everybody can see everybody's wallet. Everybody can see how much money you have in every single part of your wallet, and it's awesome, because then you can strategically find people that have more money in their wallets and build a relationship with them geared around your own niche interests. Interact with them, get them to like whatever you're doing, and then their votes are worth more, and you're making more money on Steam. There's so much you can do with this, all right? Now, it has its pros and its cons. I'm not really going to talk a lot about its cons in this, because I just want to show you, like, why you would even use your time, your valuable time to even interact on Steam, okay? That's my whole goal of this. Not just Steam itself. I'm talking about being a crypto bar, but this portion of this conversation, I want you to understand why Steam is so cool, all right? And it's not the end-all be-all of what I want to do on social media with cryptocurrency, okay? But it's the number one right now for me. So what you can do is, everybody can see your wallet. It gives you a better reputation the more Steam power. People, if they look at your thing and they see a bunch of Steam in it and a bunch of Steam dollars, but hardly anything in your actual Steam power, they might look at you like you're not really invested in the success of Steam It. You really could care less about Steam It. You're a selfish person, and you're not really somebody that I want to interact with. And there's a lot of people who will look at you that way right off the get-go. So it behooves you to have at least something in your Steam power, like for a lot of social reasons on the platform, and for monetary reasons, because the more Steam power you have in your Steam wallet, you get a certain amount of upvotes. I can give, even though my Steam power is not much, it's a penny. It's been more, but so let's just say it's a penny. Right now I don't even think it's worth that. But let's just say it's a penny to illustrate what I'm going to say. I got a certain amount of upvotes every single 24-hour period. And it's the power that you have behind your upvote, 100% upvote, which is that penny. I could do it, I believe, about, I don't know if I'm going to be right about this, but it's somewhere about 20 times at 100% in a 24-hour period. If I do it like one, what is it, like, I think it's like once, you know, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm going to illustrate it this way. There's a certain amount of times you can upvote 100% with your vote. You can do that to yourself. You could, you know, that's not much, but you could make like 20 cents a day just by upvoting all your own things. There's reasons why you wouldn't want to do that, especially social reasons on Steam It, but you could. And I do upvote every single blog post I put. I don't upvote my comments because that's just a comment. But if I feel like what I do has value, and I have a way to give it value myself, and it's not so socially repugnant that it's going to turn other people off of voting for my thing just over that, I will do it. That, and I have such a small amount of money that if I had a lot of money and my upvote was worth more, I probably wouldn't use it on myself. I would use it on other people because I already have the money. But I don't right now, right? So I upvote every single thing I put on Steam It. I add a penny to whatever content that I'm doing. And I don't have much money in Steam It right now for that penny. I mean, I think when I had that penny equals out to, I believe, about $200. That penny in my Steam power. $200 in your Steam power, which is not a lot of money, really. I mean, I know it is for a lot of people, but that's about half of what I started with, right? And the reason why I have it in Steam power is because it's the best way for me to invest in cryptocurrency and use it in a way that my creativity is rewarded. It's, out of all the things I've tested, it's the number one way. And I'll get to that in a moment to wrap up this portion. Okay, so once you're on Steam It, you start to understand a little bit about what's going on. You can start to post your content. Your content can be practically anything. There are people putting anything on Steam. There are people getting upvotes on stuff that I would call shit content that's not worth a dime. And they're getting upvotes just, I don't even understand why, to tell you the truth. And there's a lot of people is that the value, the actual value on Steam is not even a fraction of what it should be as far as the general overall Steam that's being allocated to the people that are on there creating content, basically. You're not getting very much out of it, basically, is what it comes down to. But, I'll put it this way. Somebody with 200, this is what I've been able to do with about $200 in my Steam wallet. In either SBD, Steam back dollars, Steam, or my actual Steam power. I've been able to get people to come by and every once in a while upvote something that I do with a significant enough amount of an upvote that I actually do make something. I've made, I think the most I've ever made was about $80. Alright, that's $80. And what I did to do that was I participated in a contest. And my entry into the contest was valued enough by people that had enough voting power that I made $80, right? And from time to time, now, if I look at it now, I'm still doing a lot about the same, like, because that was at the height of when Steam was worth a lot. So right now I may not be generating $80 out of it, but recently I had a $20 post when Steam's at 40 cents. I went back to that $80 post. It probably is worth less, as much as far as what the Steam that it generated than the one that I just recently did that's worth $20. Especially if I hold on to that Steam, the Steam I generated from that $20 post, Steam shoots back up because it's highly volatile to $10. Now that $20 post at 40 cents is worth, you do the math, all right? So it's an investment. It's not just, oh, I made $20. Right now, it's very low, I'm making $20. I don't look at it like it's $20, I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much. I look like, whoa, I just made a shitload of money on Steam. And it's only $20. But to me, it's not, all right? Because I understand about what it could be and what it most likely will be. And I have a lot of reasons for why I think it will be. I'm not going to even get into all that right now. Let's just leave it for what it is. It's fun. You know, I'm already doing something fun, which all of you on YouTube that are creators are doing. You're creating content, right? So my video content is being, because these are videos that are being uploaded like this. I would say I've had some poetry do pretty good. But other than that, it's been my music videos, my poetry. Sometimes I'll post a track on Tune and then share it on Steam and say this is the most recent track I uploaded to Tune, and I'll talk a little bit about Tune and why I think it's fun. Maybe put a link to my playlist that I've got, a link to the song itself, and people, because are liking Tune, other artists and other people that really like Tune, you put the tag Tune on it as your first tag. That's almost a community on itself of people that like Tune. So just because you like Tune, you're making money. You like to put your music on Tune and then you make a Steam post about it, you're making money, all right? So it's about experimentation, finding what makes money. It's fun. It's really a lot of fun. I believe personally. So I'm having fun already on Steam. I'm being valued for my content outside of some corporate entity. It's the other people in the community that are valuing me and giving me my upvotes that actually have monetary value behind them. And if you think about it, let's just think about something, and I was thinking a lot about this today because I'm so I think about Steam so much and its potential that I have a lot of really good ideas about it that I'm going to start sharing on Steam. And one of them is it's already in line with something that Steam also does, which is called curation. So when you put a post on Steam it, and other people start to value your post, and then it starts to generate value. The people that the earlier people that valued when it was, I think it's like, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like the first 10 people that upvote your thing, they get curation rewards. So at that end of that 7 days, all the steam that's generated, 25% of the steam goes towards the curators. Kind of like a playlist type thing with Tune, like I was talking about earlier, but it's in Steam. 25% of the people, or not percent of the people, but 25% of the Steam goes to those, I believe, first 10 people that upvoted your content, right? So you can make money off of curating by upvoting other people's content, and that's it. Like, if you find good content, and there are people, they're called curators, there are people that just do this. They'll just go on there and upvote other people's content, and then they get a reputation for being good curators, and then other people follow their blogs, and you can re-steam other people's content onto your blog, and then people can follow your blog to see what you're following, and it just builds and builds and builds onto itself, and it's really cool, folks. So curation is another thing that happens. But my idea is, back in the day when people were artists, really good artists, right? They would be funded by somebody who had a lot of money, who would be like, I really value you, and I'm going to supply you with everything you need to be an artist. And then they would have some agreement on what they would get out of it once the other people started to value the art that they could clearly find value in, right? The actual name for it shouldn't be eluding me, folks, but it is. It's one of those brain fart things right now. But I would like to make this a hashtag and steam it. This word that's eluding me, that I know that's in my vocabulary, but I'm not able to communicate with you except for the definition of the word. These people, beyond curation, they're basically people who have a lot of money, who devote themselves to finding artistic content, people that are putting creative things onto the blockchain, not just social media type, hey, this is my picture of my kids, this and that, which you can curate that stuff, and I personally do find value in those things, but I'm talking about art. I'm talking about people that do art. Like, if you're a songwriter, you write a song and then you put it on the blockchain, and then it's a valuable song, you're saying something that's valuable in your song, it's a cool song, right? You're most likely, in today's day and age, not going to be rewarded for creating that awesome thing that you just created called a song. So I think this hashtag in Steam, or this tag in Steam, would be a cool way for people to gather around and follow, and I put it out there like, we are looking for whales, is what they're called. Whales are the people on Steam that have a bunch of money, and their upvote's worth a ton, right? Now, they're highly selective, and a lot of them are greedy and only use their upvote for things that are going to benefit them. They're not even the type of people that want to help anyone else. They just want to help themselves. And there's a lot of people on there like that. That's one of the cons of steaming. And it's causing people that are creators to be devalued, right? Because if most of the people that have the voting power aren't using it on people that are creative, the general public's going to be like, why would I want to go on Steam it? They create, I can't make any money, not any real money. But if you're not making any real money on YouTube, let me tell you, folks, you might make more money on Steam it than on YouTube. You might. I know I do. As of now, I've got like 200 something subscribers on YouTube, and I've been on there since 2012, and my content, if you ask me, maybe I'm biased, is pretty good. Maybe I'm weak in a lot of areas. I understand this, but I think a lot of these areas that I'm weak in, it's basically brainwashing that YouTube's gotten us to, all the people that like to follow things, to abide by. Like thumbnails, like, why? Why do you care about a thumbnail? Ask yourself, why do you care about a thumbnail? All a thumbnail is somebody took the time to spend their time to try to make the brain-dead viewer look and go, oh, that's cute. I want to tap on that because it's cute. Or really, that's all it is. Or if you're a technology person, then you might want a good thumbnail. Somebody to go, oh, this person has their shit together enough to at least know how to make a decent thumbnail. But I'm not a technology person. I am not. I'm a technology user, but I'm not at all somebody that can teach somebody technology. I can teach you how to use things that are like Steemit, which I guess technically is technology, with a cell phone, but that's about like the extent of it. So for someone like me to create thumbnails, I guess I could and have done it, but it's pointless, and I realize how pointless it is, and it's wasting my time. When it might take me 5 minutes to create a thumbnail, I don't have a lot of time. 5 minutes to me is very valuable. Very valuable. I can make a poem in 5 minutes, okay? And a poem that I create in 5 minutes can turn into $2 very easily on Steemit, even with its price down where it's at. So why would I want to spend that 5 minutes creating a thumbnail for a YouTube video when I could create a piece of poetry that's a piece of myself, that is me being myself at its fullest potential, connecting with the universe and being exactly what I am, which is a crypto bard, a poet, same thing. I would be better off to spend 5 minutes writing a poem. Now, a lot of my poetry takes a lot longer than 5 minutes to write, because then it might take 5 minutes to write, but then I spend usually a lot more time editing it and thinking about it, changing it. So usually a poem doesn't take just 5 minutes, but the initial interaction of getting a poem complete before I start all the other process that takes much longer is about a 5-minute process. So, and that's for, I would say, 80% of the poetry I write. So that 5 minutes for me is gold, because I don't have a lot of time, folks. 5 minutes is huge for me. So I'm not going to spend it on creating a thumbnail, all right? I'm just not going to do it. I would rather go on Steemit, and you can find whatever it is on Steemit that you can do in 5 minutes that will create a potential money where, yeah, you could be looking at it like you're building your channel and everybody's subscribing to each other. I'm involved in this community as well, not because I'm invested in the outcome, but just because I enjoy the people. That's why I'm involved in this whole thing with Rant Jams is something different for me. Rant Jams is a place where I can go and be creative, just like Steven. He's created a community, and that's why I go to Rant Jams. But other than that, other people, they are just, if they start doing the community thing, like for instance, somebody I love that does it real well, and I enjoy and have fun on there, and that's why I'll go on there, because I have to enjoy myself and have fun. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you're doing subs for subs, or even if you're highly efficient and successful at it, it's not going to attract me. It will attract a lot of other people, but not me, because I'll be bored out of my gourd. You've got to be something cool, and one of those cool people that does community-based streaming is Recycle Dude, and his is just fun. You're gonna have fun. That's why I go on there. And then once you go on there and you're having fun, you can start to look at who else is in there having fun. And most likely those people in there having fun are in his because they're having fun too. So they're probably people that are at least similar to you in some way. So then you can start, what I do is I sub to their channels. Maybe not everyone, because a lot of times I can't get to my phone to actually go in. But when I am actually sitting there with my phone and I don't have any other distractions around, and I'm just having fun in a live stream, if I'm looking at who's in there talking, I'll just start subscribing to people's channels. I don't care anything about subscriptions at all. I'll be doing it because I want to know these people. I want to know who they are. And then immediately after that, I will hit their bell. After I've hit their bell, I will go, okay, now this person has a decent amount of time to prove to me that I enjoy something about their content to where, like, I'm going to keep this bell rung. Because I get a lot of notifications, and that's how I interact with the bell. And I don't want those to take up my time either, because time is precious. So what I'll end up doing a lot of times is, after I figure out who somebody is, I will turn their bell off. That doesn't mean I don't like their content. That just means I'm not so invested in their content that I do want that bell rung, so that I know when they are on, so that I can get more value out of them, because I'm finding a tremendous amount of value in them. So for instance, guess what? Recycle Dude's bell is rung. And until I have a good reason for unringing it, it's going to stay rung. And there are other people that I've found in the community that don't even do community stuff. That are just in the community. They're creators and they're living their lives doing things that I enjoy watching. So their bells stay rung. You get what I'm saying? Somebody else, I may really like them, but I don't really like their content too much. And I know I'll see them around, so I can say hi to them still. I will unring their bell. And then from time to time, I might just go back and look at their content to see if they started doing something else that I can find value in. So I'm using it to get to know people. And that's it. I don't care how. I can continue to use it the way I'm using it, and in the entire next year, grow 20 subscribers. Like, I've been blessed in this last year. I went from, I think, 30 subscribers, maybe even less before I started going to rant jams, to over 200, which a lot of people would be like, in a whole year, that's not much. You haven't been, utilizing the community. You haven't been doing all these things that I've been doing that have got me up over 1K. And yeah, they're right. I've been, because that's not why I'm there. I've just been blessed with those 200 subscribers. As far as I'm concerned, it's not something I've even tried to do, folks. It's just something that happened to me, so it's a blessing. And my channel is growing because people are getting to know me and they like me. And no matter what YouTube's trying to do to suppress me, which I do believe they are, and I don't believe I'm the only one, but for reasons that I'm willing to say a lot of things, I believe that YouTube has targeted me, because I'm not just on here to promote myself and have fun and never really get into the nitty-gritty of all the stuff that they don't want us to do on YouTube, but they allow us to do. Because if they didn't allow us to do it, probably a large portion of the population would stop using it. But I know I'm never going to be big. Word of mouth only gets you so far, and that's what we got right now in this community. Word of mouth. Yeah, you can get 100K subscribers. You can get, not 100K. I don't think you can get that out of just the community itself. Not at the point of where it's at or anytime soon. But yeah, you can get 1,000, you can get 2,000, you can get 5,000, you can get 5,000 something, like Rant Jams, I believe he's around there, 5,000 something. But his subscribers aren't just from the community. So I don't even know if you can get 5,000. His is because he's Rant Jams, and because he's out there busting his ass on YouTube, spending a lot of time to make his content good, and he is really busting his ass getting to know everybody at a next level type of stage that I really can't do. I can't be Rant Jams. Man, I'm jealous. I wish I could. That would be so much fun to not do what he's doing as Rant Jams, but to do what he's doing socially on this platform. That would be fun to be able to, man, he's really a cool guy. He really is. And I see what he's doing. He is spamming, what he calls spamming people, which means that he finds somebody that he finds value in, right? and he introduces himself. That first step right there, that's how he found me. That first step right there puts him in a category of his own. Hardly anybody else is doing that. That in itself, finding people and introducing yourself and saying, this is what I'm doing, I'd love for you to be a part of it. And even like going back and reminding them, like, he's taking it to a new level, folks, and that's why he's where he's at. And that's why he's going to continue to grow. And he's figuring out ways to break the internet, because he knows the internet is set up more and more against him. Like, they don't want him to succeed, but he's finding ways to succeed anyways. And I find it brilliant, and I want to help in whatever way I can, because all it does is bring me joy. To see Rant Jam succeed on YouTube would be like, that would make me so happy. You don't even know how happy that would be. And when I say succeed, I think he's already succeeded. He's already created community. But I mean succeed to the next level of what the potential of what he is doing could be. Which is, Conan would be the end result, but even somewhere 1/10 of Conan would be a lot more than what he's at now, and I believe it's going to be hard to do with what I truly believe Google is doing. It's going to be real hard to do, because I really hope they haven't targeted him, but I'm pretty sure it's very likely. But I don't, this is the one thing we have on our side, is I think they're targeting us with the algorithm, and not with specific programs. Like I think they're trying to do, they only have so much time, folks. They don't have time to go around finding people like Acousticsteveo and being like this. Maybe early in the early days, I was on there in 2012. Maybe that's why I'm where I'm at with some of what I think they're doing to me. That may be outside of the algorithm, but for the most part, for other people that weren't in early, that they didn't have time to actually really look at your content, but they could have ways that the algorithm could narc you out, and then they have like real people look at you and make some decisions about you. I don't know. I don't really know exactly what they're doing, but I know they're doing something. I have no doubt that they're doing something. Especially with what they're willing to do in the world, and let us all know they're willing to do, like this thing with China that they keep revisiting with China. They're trying to get to China, folks, which tells you a lot. I mean, that tells you a lot. So you got to look at actions, because actions will tell you a lot more than words. So they are willing to manipulate people if they're willing to go into China. So if we know they're willing to do that, they're probably already doing it, all right? So I really hope that that does not happen to any of you. That I hope you can be free of that. I hope that maybe your content keeps you free of that, because you're not doing anything like Acousticsteveo or anything like even Rant Jams. Because I'll tell you what I think puts you on their radar. It's when you start to try to build people up and do things like what Rant Jams is doing. Oh my gosh, that's all about building people up. That's all about investing yourself in other people's success and them finding value in themselves. And I think that type of thing at its root is dangerous to everybody involved that has a stake in things like Google, all right? For numerous reasons I'm not going to get into, but they're smart enough to know that, all right? We can debate about it till the sun comes home, but the fact of the matter is that these people that actually can do something about it are smart enough to know that it's a threat, all right? For so many different reasons. And they're probably smart enough to figure something out in the algorithm that will keep people that are doing things like that from gaining success. It's kind of a soft shadow ban using the algorithm. And I believe that's what they're doing. If you were to, my best educated guess, which is not that educated, it's more gut and intuition, and knowing what I would do if I were completely corrupt, I would do that to you guys in a heartbeat. If I was in charge of Google and evil, that's what I would be doing, because I know I wouldn't get caught. Because that's all they care about, is getting caught. see, like, if we actually could catch them in that, they would probably find a way out of it and say it wasn't what it really is, and they'd probably maybe make some apologies, and Susan would have something to say about it, and probably saying why it isn't what it is, double speak, some kind of thing, all right? They would easily get people to probably accept it, and then they'd sit back and laugh and be like, these fools, like, you know, all this type of thing. So it is what it is. I know that's what I would do if I were completely corrupt and evil and didn't care about the human potential and the freedom of the human spirit, but I do. And part of knowing about the freedom of the human spirit and the freedom of human potential is knowing that there are people who not only know about that freedom, but want the exact opposite. They want human slavery to the level that we're not even close to yet. They have envisioned a world that is so deep and dark and will destroy human souls if it's implemented at the level that they want to implement it at, that they have like a game plan for. So our job is to like be aware of that and to make sure that we do everything to resist anything that will bring us closer to that. And we may fail. We may completely fail, but we still have to try. What's the alternative? To put our children into a world where our grandchildren or their grandchildren or the grandchildren after that are going to be under the things that we can see that are coming? What's the point in having children then? That just means, to me, that means that you probably hate. I don't want to go there because I'll be offending a lot of people. But I think you really need to think about these things, people. You really do need to think about these things. The potential of what everything that's going on around you and all the corporate interests and the corporate oligarchy that has become America, what it really is. Like, you need to look at it and not just dismiss people like me as fringe people who don't know what they're talking about, who spread fear. Because this ain't about fear. I'm not afraid of all this. I just don't want it to happen. There's a difference. So, oh man, I think so much about this stuff you guys don't even know. It's like all I do, pretty much. I wouldn't wish it on anybody else, I'll tell you that much. But I know there's a ton of people out there just like me. A ton of them. And I find them more and more every day online. And they may have a different thing they're doing, they're a different thing, but I know when it comes down to it, they understand that the condition of humanity and how dangerous and precarious of a place we're at right now. And I think a lot of them have dismissed the power that we have, and they have kind of given into this whole fear-mongering thing instead of a solution-minded thing. See, because I don't think that pointing out all this stuff is the answer, because unless you have an alternative solution to it, the people they need a solution to go into. They can't just be like, yes, that's the problem, yes, that's horrible, and then live their lives about how horrible it is. It has to be, yes, that's horrible, where can we go, what can we do, is there anything? And that's the energy that has to be had to fix it. And I believe it can be fixed. Not fixed on a level of some government, fixed on a level of people, like individuals, understanding what truth is, teaching their children what truth is, and everybody understanding what truth is. That's really the only answer. And yes, there is a right and a wrong. And it is everybody being on the same page of why everything is right and wrong. That is right and wrong. That's pretty much the answer, and the only answer. And there are going to be lots of people that will never get on board with that, but I believe that there are enough people, especially after they've gone through the young, dumb, and full of cum age that are going to come to some sort of realization that life isn't about being young, dumb, and full of cum. It's about a lot more than that, and that's when people are going to make discoveries of what it really is, and things like social media and the blockchain are going to keep the powers that be from keeping that under control. See, in the past, we weren't able to talk to each other like we're able to talk to each other now. We were all isolated, and these ideas were not allowed to be proliferated amongst the masses. But believe me, folks, what I'm saying to you is not nothing new. There are people saying this stuff, been saying this stuff for a long, long time. And it is now at a place where it's being proliferated. Hasn't been adopted by the masses, but it's being proliferated amongst the masses. Kind of like Common Sense by Thomas Paine, when in early American history, it's pretty much the document that and everyone who had any semblance of education read, and kind of became a springboard for all sorts of things. All right. So there's really, once you if you adopt the blockchain and censorship resistant technologies with social media as the ones that you really want to embrace, and realize YouTube is not one of them, and you start to move into those and to figure out all the reasons why it doesn't behoove you to stay in YouTube, or at least don't value YouTube beyond what it is. That's all you have to do, is don't value it for beyond what it is. Realize what it is. Realize how evil and corrupt it really is. That's the first stage, man. And then you got to realize what the next stage is getting people to leave it as fast as possible. Like, it is important that we leave social media from corporate control as fast as possible. It is dire to our human condition. And I believe it not only is possible, I believe it's inevitable, because there's enough freedom-loving people in the world, and it got out of control. The people that hate us, they can't control us like they once could. A lot of them are arrogant enough to think they still can, but I don't think they can. I think that the universe itself is blessing us, and I think you can look back in history and just see where we're at now, and the human spirit and freedom, and what we can read about the human spirit and freedom and talk to each other about, even in a daily conversation nowadays, compared to 200 years ago, and you will know that it may be out of their hands. They may have lost control, and their time is probably coming. All right, and it may get real ugly real fast depending on what happens, but we just got to know that we have each other's back, and I got your back. Got your back. I seriously do. So, getting back to Steam It, if you are a video maker or a musician or a poet, these things are valued on Steam It. If you're a writer of any sort, there are people doing serial novels on Steam It, where there are people who have written novels that are taking their novels that they've written and doing a serial type of thing with it, where they put a little bit of it on Steam It at a time each week, and then people just kind of interact with it that way. And people are discovering other people. We're no longer confined to whatever becomes popular by the masses as being the things that are in front of our eyes anymore. We don't have to listen to what's on the radio, on the FM dial anymore, and I don't. I really don't. I like a lot of the music that was generated from that experience, of that being possible, but I don't anymore. I don't like the music anymore, so I'm not going to listen to it. And there's plenty of other people on the internet that I've found that I do like the music, that it benefits them when I listen to their music off the FM dial. So that's the way I'm going to experience my music experience. And that's part of being a crypto bard as well, is getting off of things that are controlled by these evil entities. And believe me, folks, they are evil. They are. All right? And taking more control of your own thing like even publishing, it's going to go through something, even copyright. And pretty soon, if you're a musician, you're not going to need a publisher. All you'll need is a blockchain that will have it all laid out. Say you're a guitarist and you're in a studio, right? You're going to sit down and there's an artist who has a song and you're going to play drums, right? So you want to, in the past, the way that it happened was you would sign a contract to get an amount of the performance of whatever that track generated. See, there's two things. There's the songwriting gets half. So the songwriter, whoever, that's the place to be, folks, the songwriter. The songwriter automatically gets half of whatever is generated from a musical track that is something that anyone can listen to, right? The person that wrote the song, that person or people, they get half of whatever is generated. So then the other half, now that half can be infringed upon, and that's what publishing is. If you're a songwriter, you find a publisher, and then the publisher gets a certain percentage of your songwriting half, and then they represent you, and they publish your stuff in writing. Like people can go and get the notebook, and some people are not very respectful. Other truck drivers, they go and they get the songwriting, and they tell you you're under them. You're contracted that they now make whatever the publishing makes of your material, which is pretty much what it is for a song. You're publishing it. Every time a song is used, you're the publisher. If you're the songwriter, you don't have to give that up to a publisher. You can be your own publisher as a songwriter. And I am pretty much my own publisher as a songwriter. Not only that, I would like to help other people with publishing and expedite this process into what I'm talking about. Pretty soon, say I wrote a song. I go in and I'm like, I have some money so I can produce a song, right? And I know all the artists that I want to fill out all parts of my song that I've written. And I got a drummer friend who's really good on the drums. I've got a bassist that's really good on the bass. I've got a keyboardist that's really good on the keyboard. I got a guitarist that's a lot better on the guitar than me. I got a lead guitarist that's even better than me. And I got some vocalists that are 10 times better than me. I can create a contract for all these people to get the performance half of whatever the track is that's created, right? So I can value them differently. Say I want to value the vocalist at a certain level because that's what drives the marketing of a track. That's what attracts people at the get-go is the vocalist. That's why the lead. I'm not saying that they're worth more. I'm just saying you can work these things out. You can negotiate them, especially, and it can be dependent on the group of people that you're working with. Maybe the vocalist says, "Yeah, you know what? We're all musicians. I only want, all the people here. I'll take the percentage that is the percent of me on this track. I'm only one person on the track. I'll take that." It's highly, and these blockchain contracts can be set up as a way that everybody gets their fair share as soon as anybody starts making money, and it's done like that. No paperwork involved at all. It just say it's a streaming platform, and I want to produce a track, right? And it's say Acousticsteveo, and if anybody has money and they want to give it to me and they want to perform this can actually be done as of today. You can find all these much better than I am. And we can have a song produced. All right, now the money that goes to produce that song, that's what producers. So you have publishers and you got producers, right? And you got houses, companies that supply the money, and then they have producers that actually kind of control a chunk of that money that they're putting forth. And it's all a big thing that's been going on for a long time that's dying like a fucking dinosaur, okay? So you have can't make any money off of it anymore because hardly anybody's listening to the radio. Everybody's using these streaming technologies. It's just not geared towards the way it used to be. That and anybody and their brother now can make a really good song without a studio, just with the technology that we now have for cheap, okay? That's what it all comes down to. So let's just say we produce a track. Well, there's a number of ways you can do that. Now the producer, traditionally, they will get a portion of the performance because that's what they're doing, is producing their money, right? So they'll be one of the people that gets a percentage besides the artists on the track of the performance. So every time it's played on the radio, the producer gets a percentage. Now they usually, some of them are independent producers, but they usually work for, and traditionally, for a record label. And that record label then really is the real backer, and they kind of get a big chunk of the performance, and they allocate a smaller percentage, and it becomes like this half that should go to the actual piece of music that everyone's listening to. The people that are doing the music on the track are like at the bottom of the barrel compared to the record label, right? And even the producer, the person that's taking the time to like sit in the studio, they produce the track to make it the best track that they can, okay? So we don't need all that anymore. You can still have a producer. Say this team you gather of these musicians that have a songwriter or numerous songwriters within the group. All these musicians, the producer, somebody that knows what they're doing to get a really, really good sound, they have just as much right, in my estimation, to take a cut of that performance part of the track. So they also are written into the contract. However you decide, it can be highly negotiable depending on who's bringing what and at what value it is that they're bringing, right? So everybody is on the same page now, okay? And they all understand what they're getting from it, and they don't feel like they've been put upon by some record label. They feel very happy. They're probably, if they're a success and they get a song on the radio from this process, which would be very hard to do because of the powers that be, but if they do, they're going to make a lot more money than if they went through a record label, okay? So you have these people that produce this way now. This new dichotomy of, oh shoot, I just screwed up. I just missed my exit. Which sucks, because I was already running late, and it's a number of miles before I can turn around and come back. Oh well. It is what it is. Tis what tis. That's what happens when you're talking about something important. It's not going to cost anyone any money, really. Except for me. Because of my time. It's making me spend more time. Oh well. Maybe the fuel. But the fuel is very cheap. And believe me, I earn it from all the things that I don't report, that I could report to make more money. So it's a wash. That's the way my brain works. It's a ledger in itself. I'll put it that way. So you got all these people that could create a track. It could take them very little time and energy compared to the past because of technology. It could be a really good track. They could put it wherever they want. I mean, if they want to get involved in paperwork and all sorts of things, that's their choice. They could do that, but then they'd probably need somebody to take the publisher role, somebody to take responsibility for all that. But if nobody wants to take responsibility for anything and just have it be a seamless process, they can just put it on a blockchain, folks. They can just publish it on a blockchain. And sky's the limit with this. It really is. Because after it's on the blockchain, say it's on a blockchain that's streaming it, right? And somebody hears it and they're like, oh wow, I really want to use that song in my movie I'm making. Well, they can't just take it and all the people that still own the rights to it, all those people that produced it and were a part of it, they own the copyright. And it's on the blockchain, so there's no denying they own it because it's time-stamped by being on the blockchain. That may make copyright go out of this whole scenario where people aren't paying money to the copyright people, you know, or they're taking their freaking pound of flesh. Because it'd make it a moot point. It'd make it a moot point. Because why would you need a copyright if you can copyright something by just creating it? And you know what I mean? So somebody comes along and hears the song, however it is, wherever it is, and they want to use it. They want to put it on the radio. They want to use it in a way that that is traditional. You know, a movie, a blockbuster movie, or an independent film where they pay everybody in fiat, right? Well, this is going to sound crazy. This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you this. This is what's going to happen because it makes it so much easier on everyone involved. Now, how are they going to do it? Are they going to go back to who's the publisher? Who do they reach out to? That may make them not want to get involved. If it's not easy for them, they'll just go to the people that they can get songs from. That's easy. That's already set up. They got a publisher, everything. The paperwork can happen. It's real fast, right? On the blockchain, not so much. They find something that they like, but they can't really use it unless they take up their time and energy to search out these people and come to some sort of an agreement with the people that created the material they want to use, right? Well, there's an answer to that. It's a simple answer. The other side of the contract, right? I'm not 100. I think this has to exist. Somebody has to have already thought of this. I know there's already cryptocurrencies out there that can facilitate this. I just don't know if anybody's used it yet to this extent. Well, what you do is you set up a contract through a blockchain, like Ethereum with a smart contract, right? Where everybody involved in the songwriting process knows exactly what they're getting. And whenever the song is used, which means that basically it would force people to interact with the blockchain at some point. Like these people that put out the blockbusters, if they really wanted your stuff, they would have to, if enough people were using it, they would have no choice but to use it too, because they want your stuff and everybody's using it, even the big artists. That's the thing we got to do, is get big artists to bail ship on all this stuff and start valuing their own content and producing their own stuff. And whenever they do that independently, we go out and we buy their stuff. That's really how it starts, all right? Because then they attract a reason for all these people to get result of this, all right? There's a place where in the contract they could say, okay, we're going to pay you in, let's just say Ethereum. Everybody's going to get paid in Ethereum, right? And it can even be like, we're going to, like if it's a placement, for instance, that's an easy scenario for me to make an example of. They want to take a song and they want to put it in a movie, right? Well, the song's on the blockchain. All they got to do is everybody that made the song put it on the blockchain, and part of the contract, anybody that wants to use that song, all they got to do is purchase it. And you could have two options. It could be like an eBay type thing. You could find the true value of your song, like you could figure out what everybody else is getting paid. And you could be like, if you want to use my song, you could pay this. You could discount your song. Maybe that would get people more inclined to use it to begin with. They'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool, and look, this is cheap. Then you could discount your song, and all they'd have to do is turn some of their fiat into Ethereum and put it in the contract, purchase the song. They'd now have the rights to the song. They'd have the rights, they'd have purchased the rights because it'd be in a contract, which is what a smart contract is, all right? So everybody would automatically get paid for that placement, because that's how placements pay. It's a one-off deal, for the most part. That also can, it's highly different for the contracts that you do for the placements, but most of the time, somebody that's making a movie doesn't want to keep paying an artist over and over and over again, because people are watching their movie over and over and over again, or streaming their movie over and over and over again. So they'll be like, okay, we want to pay you one amount for the performance, and it'd be a one-time deal, and that's the contract. And if you agree to that, then you agree to it, okay? So there's a price that people get paid for placements, and then the money from that placement gets half this goes to the songwriter, and half goes to the performance. It's that easy. So the sky's the limit with this stuff, all right? And it behooves you to realize that this is has a lot of real potential, and to start getting involved in it if you're a creative person, and to understanding it, and to putting your stuff out there, and to finding what I just explained. It might exist. I'm going to start looking for it because I think it might exist. If not, maybe I'll create it, because it wouldn't be that hard. I could find somebody who knows a lot more about technology than me, and maybe I'll make a company, a production company based on the blockchain. Who knows, man? Who knows? Sky's the limit. So, yeah, that's what that is all about. So now I'm going to be turning around and going the other direction because I screwed up. So we have a little bit more time to get through this crypto art thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is getting involved in the technologies and the actual philosophy, which I've kind of delved into a little bit throughout this whole conversation. But I know a conversation has to have two people on it. But I know if I'm talking, I'm generating some sort of thought if anybody's listening. So that is a conversation in itself. Plus, you have the opportunity to write a comment. So it is a conversation no matter what, no matter whether you actually interact with it or not. It's a conversation that we are having. So, I know I didn't need to lay that out for most people, but who knows. The conversation that we're having, I've talked about. It's funny, somebody just saw me get on the freeway and make a U-turn. They're probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. They probably figured it out pretty soon too. They're probably like, oh, that dumbass, he forgot to weigh his load. Yep, that'd be me. I forgot to weigh my load. Ugh. 'Tis what it is, folks. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I have decided that fiat currencies are not the way to go as a society for the future of mankind on this planet. Like, they won't work. Like, we need to find a solution. And the reason why I believe that is because they haven't worked. I'll make it as simple as that. Like, you can argue the point all you want, but I don't think it'd be a very productive argument. Like, if we were to debate this, if fiat currencies have worked or not, I think I'd come out on top. Fiat currencies have not worked. Now, that doesn't mean I think cryptocurrencies will work, but I think they have a lot more potential to work, or at least get us to the next stage of what will ultimately work than fiat currencies do. And the reason why is there's always a middleman. This is one of the reasons, probably the biggest. What I just explained about the smart contract, it eliminates middlemen. It eliminates somebody in the middle of something, taking a chunk of whatever it is you're doing. Like, for instance, in my example, the record label, or even the producer. Because at this point, lots of musicians themselves are producers. I'm sure if you got a group of musicians together, one person in that group should probably have the technology and the skills to produce a pretty decent track that could be used as a track that could go in a movie, like would be that quality. And nowadays, like, we can all do this. The technology is available for fairly cheap, and there's probably somebody that you know that has it. All right, so we already can get rid of two middlemen, the producer and not so much, because I do respect the producers and they can bring a lot, and especially if they're involved in getting the funds together to make and create the recording. But you can definitely get rid of the record company or whatever. So, and that was where a lot of the money was going. That's why record companies exist. That's why I got them. That's why the history of the record industry went the way it did, because record companies existed. But it's not that world anymore at all. So, record labels are going to become obsolete. It may take a long time for that to happen, but it's inevitable that it will. So it's more of a peer-to-peer thing, which is the whole basis of cryptocurrency. Getting rid of the middlemen, the banks that are in the middle of you transact that, Where does your money go? Direct deposit. It goes to a bank before you can use it, right? Why can't your employer just send the money to you, to your wallet, right? That might be in the future too, folks. That might be in the future too. Or if you want to, I wanted to buy a cell phone for my friend Martin's in Nigeria. How do I make that happen? In this world today, there are still middlemen in the process that took their pound of flesh. The middleman in my situation was, I think, a company associated with PayPal that let me send the money to, and maybe even PayPal itself as well, to the checking account. Also, Coinbase took a bit for me to send it to my checking account, but there were middlemen, and they took their pound of flesh. Why couldn't I have just said, hey Martins, why don't you go get a cell phone? I'm going to send you the equivalent of what it costs in Steam to your wallet for free, because we're both on Steam it, and you can figure out how to turn it into whatever you want, to go buy whatever you want. Maybe you got some friends that are also in Steam it, and what you want to buy they own, and you can just send them to Steam and they can hand you the object. Wow. That's totally different than what I had to go through to get my friend Martin's cell phone. And the government at no point got involved in this transaction. At no point. And that's the key. That's the key. No taxes were taken out. No sales tax. It happened in Nigeria. I didn't buy the phone. I just sent Martin's, my friend, the phone, the Steam, so he could. Then over in Nigeria, he said he didn't buy it with their money, so he doesn't have to pay sales tax. It's kind of like a trade. Like, if you and trading is legal in most places, right? So if you have a washer and dryer, and your friend needs a washer and dryer, you got one sitting in your garage but you need a couch, and they got a couch you need, and you swap them, right? It's a trade. Well, you're trading Steam for a phone. Why does the tax man have to be involved in that? He doesn't, and that's a big problem for the governments of the world. And that's why they hate cryptocurrency. And that's why they're trying to figure out how they can get in there still. And that's why you got to be careful with the tax man, because you don't want to go do something illegal just because you want to play around with cryptocurrency, right? But as long as you become familiar with the laws that you're governed by, which I know is a pain in the ass, and probably a big reason why people don't get into cryptocurrency to begin with, because they don't want to break a law, and they don't know the laws, and it's hard to understand all the laws. And maybe I'll get into some of that, at least at the level of being just an individual interacting with laws that I don't understand, and I'll put that out there at the beginning of the videos so that people don't try to hold me accountable for taking my advice, because that would be stupid of anyone to do, because I'm not a lawyer or an accountant. So, but still, I might explore some things, and I have every right to, and I have every right to talk about those things I explore and the decisions and my thinking process in and along the way of that exploration. So, what I just said is pretty dang easy, right? Like, if a production company wants now to, and they don't even have to talk anymore now if they really don't want to. It's kind of like one shop buying. Like, maybe you could even have that contract I was talking about. You could have the set price, and then you can have a negotiation back and forth button. Like, say maybe they don't want to pay what you put on there, but they're willing to pay something else. They could send you an offer, and that's now a part of the contract, whether you accept their offer or come back, kind of like when you're buying a house or something. And then once you make an agreement, though, it's part of the contract. So, I mean, it's so simple. Then they just take the song and they put it in their movie and they play their movie and you've been paid for the placement. And it can get really technical, even to as much as if it is streaming. Like somebody wants to take your song and put it in a movie they're going to stream on a platform. Well, that might be a little more complicated, but it's doable. I'm not going to get into how to do that because it's above my pay grade, but I know it's doable. So, anyways, I'm almost done here, and I kind of explained to you kind of what I'm doing. I explained a couple of the ways that I've been interacting with the blockchain. I call it the blockchain because even though these are all different cryptocurrencies, they all have a blockchain. They all have something in common, except for a couple of them which are built on different technologies that aren't blockchain technologies. So you'd have to find that out, but I call it the blockchain because it's the use case of this technology, and it all comes down to a blockchain, which is the contracts, which Ethereum's kind of the next level and introduced, because Bitcoin isn't as much capable of some of this, but Bitcoin is really cool for what it is, like in itself. So I'm not dogging Bitcoin, I'm just saying like the true utilization of the blockchain, it's not going to be one thing that does it all, one ring that rules them all, and all that type of thing, you know. It's going to be more than that. So, I'm going to get off here in a minute. Actually, right now, I've done a lot to explain what a crypto bard is. It's somebody that's devoted themselves in what they can do to bringing cryptocurrencies to the masses, and utilizing cryptocurrencies, showing other people how to, putting their creativity into generation of cryptocurrencies over fiat at however they can do that. By the way, you can donate to me if you want to promote me being a crypto bard. It's all in my description. You can get some cryptocurrency and send it to me.
First way or relay?
First way.
Tractor number?
766. All right, everyone. Have a good one.
Gotcha. Come on in.